Hello, Supercoaches. The teams are in for round 8 and we have possibly the craziest selection of the season so far, with David Fifita, originally ruled out for a month, now available this week and named for the Titans. We've got Jett Hatton here with us. Mate, you're a previous owner of David Fifita. What the hell is going on here? Is this just Des Hasler's shenanigans?
Man, I bought him at the start of the year, rode through all the turbulence with him, copped that 128, and now I sold him last week after he got ruled out for 4 weeks, and now apparently he's named on the bench, but I'm not convinced he'll still play because hamstring's a hamstring, so we'll see what happens, but it's definitely frustrating.
It could definitely be Des Hasler just doing what Des Hasler does.
Yep.
I sold him as well last week, so seeing him on the team sheet today was a little bit off-putting. But how about your punting record on the weekend? That's what I want to talk about the most.
Man, I was talking it up on Wednesday and I followed through. If anyone was on punters.com on the weekend, they would have had another fill-up. Jimmy Starr on the All-Age had a nice collect on a multi that I won't disclose how much it was, but it was a nice win. Yeah. So Supercoach team not as good, but punting good.
Well, let's talk about the biggest takeaways from the team. For me, it is David Fifita from absolutely nowhere, ruled out for 4 weeks, suddenly gets named by Des Hasler. It's huge for Supercoach because he was the 4th most popular purchase last week, so a lot of people would have had to reverse. I already owned him, so I sold him. Now it's gone from 4 weeks to 0 weeks. I have no idea what's going on here. Our guys up there and the Gold Coast are chasing this story, so we'll see what happens. What's your big takeaway?
Mine was Latrell Mitchell named at fullback. He's mainly just because it probably rules out any chance of him getting dual status, which is a lot of people would be hoping for that. But I wouldn't be buying him this week. He's got 146 break even and he plays Melbourne, but he's got a nice draw after that. So.
Yeah, definitely a guy to look for the future.
Yep.
Just like looking at the storylines out of today's teams, you've got Latrell, as you mentioned, Billy Smith, one of the better cheapies we've seen this year. Galvin has come from nowhere to get named. Dylan Lucas is back, which probably spikes Thomas Cant as a buy. Turbo's back. Sione Finau and Kane Bradley could be cheapies. Leka Halasima back to the bench. Harry Grant is injured. Jayden Campbell is injured, and Reece Walsh injured as well. So we'll get through all that in this podcast today. So much to get through. First of all, Broncos v the Doggies at the Bronx. They got Walsh out, so Cobbo goes to fullback. Mariner comes in on the wing. Reece Walsh, he was a guy who had piqued my interest at stages, but now out for 4 to 6 weeks.
Yep, it's definitely a big blow for all those who have him. He's about sub 600k now, so you're selling at bargain price. Cobbo comes in the fullback. He's about 470k, but tough 2 games currently. They got the Doggies and Penrith. Wilson there in the back row, a bit of a pod maybe. He played all right when he was there on the weekend. I don't know what the hell Brendan Petecora's done to Madge, but he was in the Origin squad last year and now he can't crack the 13 with all the injuries in the back row, so I'm not too sure what's going on there. Definitely
out of favour. And then at the Doggies, we've got Jacob Carraz. Well, Harry Hayes is back. Not that big for classic Supercoach players, but he's been really popular in draft because he's got that dual position. Carraz is the guy who everyone's talking about there, averaging 72.5 over his 2 games. He's just a tackle-busting, offloading machine. The issue I've got against him is obviously he could get selected for Origin. But look, otherwise, I can't really talk people out of Jacob Carraz.
Yep, I won him last week and he just accumulates points everywhere. I won't mention the Greg Marju that I traded out for him last week, but Carraz looks awesome. I think he'll play Origin with Lomax out, but he looks so good. I think he's a must-have for the run home. I'm
just shocked that he has come back from a back injury, which is like a pain tolerance thing, we are told, and he has just thrown his body into everything like it's nobody's business. Yep. He's looking sensational. Got 30 points in tackle busts and offloads over the weekend. So you know you're going to get that from him, even if he doesn't score that many tries. Another issue I have, apart from Origin, is that if he gets moved to centre, where he has played a fair bit, his scores are well down compared to what he is on the wing. We really want him to play wing.
Yep, you wouldn't think he'd get moved to centre though, unless there's an injury. You've got Crichton there, probably the best centre in the game, and then Bronson Sherry in the form of his life. So you think injuries barring, he stays on the wing.
Just a reminder that Supercoach Plus is $29.95 for the year. Get all your stats, projections, team lists, a buy planner, all that sort of stuff for $29.95. or you can get a code subscription for $59 for the entire season. That gets you all articles, late mail, early mail, all the late team changes that other people don't get. You have to pay for this stuff. It is $59 for the year, $1 a week. So I think it's an absolute bargain. On to the Roosters v the Dragons. So at the Chooks, Billy Smith, he is back. And so I got shot down. About a month ago, I said that Billy Smith is going to come back into this team, and Nwanganitawazi is going to go to the wing, and Dominic Young is going to be the guy that drops out. I got hammered for that on social media. It has come true. Billy Smith straight back into the team from suspension. Dominic Young, who's a pretty serious player, drops out of that side. So they got lots of guys floating around in that back line. Supercoach-wise, Billy Smith, is he a must-have?
I don't think so. I think there's a lot of, especially now you've got Finau in there that you can plug in as a cheapie who's, you know, Billy Smith's got a lot of job security, but Dom Young's there knocking on the door. Oh, he's awkwardly priced. They have a nice run, bye run, sorry, but they got a tough run coming up. He's a solid player. I don't think he's a must-have, but he's definitely a nice to have.
He's good. I mean, he's the most purchased player this week.
Yeah.
But as you say, price is awkward in the early 300Ks. If he was at base price, let's say he was 200K, 100% you have to bring him in. I still like him at 300 odd K. It's just that you can't create that much cash from going, let's say, Robert Toya to him. It's almost a straight swap. You're not going to make that much money. Harry Grant to Connor Watson, extremely popular this week. Grant's out. Yeah, Grant's out until at least round 10. Watson is the elite guy at hooker.
Yeah, there's a few nice options there. You got Max Plath got named this week, but I like Watson there. He punched out about 86 on the weekend. He might play Origin, which is a bit of a bummer, but if he doesn't, it'd be huge.
They got Angus Crichton back from a groin injury as well, and James Tedesco. What are we thinking on Teddy? Are you going to go him or the guy that you've been talking up recently in Scotty Drinkwater?
Yeah, I'm Drinkwater all the way. When we get to the Cowboys, I got a lot to say about him. Yeah, Drinky's my man.
Just tell us now. I'm keen to hear.
Well,
I'm thinking about it too.
I was having a look today. Well, I looked a couple of weeks ago just to plan out my Supercoach. They don't play in New South Wales until round 15, I think it is, against the Roosters. And then after that, they play the next 5 games in Queensland, and the next game in Sydney is until round 22 against the Sharks. They've been on the upward spiral, the Cowboys. Drinky has scored 70 plus in 4 of his 6 games. His other 2 games are about 65 and 52. So he's got that consistent scoring. He's a captaincy option every week. He's up against the Titans this week, who are just cast.
Yeah.
I want to captain him this week. And, he's not going to play Origin. I think he's just a set and forget.
Yeah, I love him. I think, you can bring him in, not trade him out for the rest of the year, and with the goal kicking as well. That just clinches it for me.
He's not super overly priced too. He's about 700K, so you don't have to move heaven and earth to get him.
And so the schedule is pretty good. He doesn't play round 12, which is the next big buy that we're looking forward to. But from there, it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
On to the Dragons. So they've got Finau, who you mentioned before. He comes onto the wing. So Christian Tuipulotu out. Plus, they lost the replacement in Matt Finau on the weekend. So he's got that spot locked in until at least round 11, but the break-even is 45. So you don't need to move this week. Take a look this round and see what happens. What we do know is that the left wing spot at the Dragons is red hot this year. That's where Gutho is just feeding try upon try upon try to Christian Tuipulotu mostly. So look, it's a good spot to be, and he's going to be probably the most purchased player next week.
Yep. Well, I think we've said it a million times this season how he had 4 tries in the pre-season. Just that left edge is just a pot of gold. Yep. Gutho, you could have Gutho, Holmes, and Finau all together in your Supercoach team. I like him, but as you said, his break-even's a bit high, so not this week.
He's killing it in New South Wales Cup too, basically a try game in New South Wales Cup. So it wasn't just a flash in the pan where he scored 4 tries in that pre-season trial. Dylan Egan started on the weekend, 49 points. I'm thinking that he's pretty close to, maybe not a keeper, but he's a guy I'm going to keep for a long time in my side.
Yeah, you can confidently play him every week. He played a lot in the middle, which is going to have his base up heaps, and he's got that upside if he does play on the edge. So Flano's playing mind games again this week, naming him in the 17 jersey. So, you'd think he comes in and starts again, but you wouldn't mind just seeing him with that starting jumper on, wouldn't you?
Yeah, 100%. Like it's just better for the Dragons.
Yeah.
Him starting because he's a beast. He can defend. He tackles. He loves the rough stuff. And then Luciano Leilua comes on a bit later and can just razzle dazzle people against a tired defence. It just works. It suits both players. So just stick with it for Supercoach as well. On to the Warriors v the Knights. So Warriors have got CNK back from that concussion. As I mentioned though, Leka Halasima moves to the bench. It's basically a domino effect from CNK coming back. He was on my radar as a buy for this week, scored a try on the weekend. He looks just elite. He looks like an absolute superstar. But I think he's going to be one of these guys that just passes us by for Supercoach this year.
Yeah, they just love, I think we were talking pre-show, they just love Murata near Corey. You know, maybe next year's Halasima's year, just to be that starting back row. It looks like the future of the club. Cheeky little try on the weekend, $5 for those who jumped on. So, yeah, just thought I'd get that in there. But, mate, he looks good.
And speaking of young guns at the Warriors, Val Munga is just looking sensational every week. And the minutes are just creeping up with James Fisher-Harris out injured. That he's getting some really good minutes now. Getting some nice price rises too, so it's good to see. And he's a hold sort of indefinitely for me. I feel like he's one of these guys that could be playing massive minutes by the end of the season. It's going to be a really slow burn.
Yeah, I'm happy that I kept him. There was a few weeks there where he was punching out 20 every week and it was a bit of an AE nightmare. So I'm glad those minutes are creeping up, and the fact that he's got the dual front row now is very handy.
On to the Knights. So Dylan Lucas is back. That means Thomas Cant goes to the bench. Now his BE is in the 20s, so he's pretty much peaked. I doubt that, it's basically what he's going to hit playing from the bench. So I think Thomas Cant could be a sell this week.
Yep. Lucas back in, he comes straight back in. You'd think 80 minutes. Look for him to have a big performance, I think. See how he goes. What
do you reckon about him as a buy, though? I'm thinking of it more as this affecting Thomas Cant, but Dylan Lucas is the 10th most purchased player as it currently stands. So he's got a low BE. It's about 19 or 20, something like that. So he could be a real point of difference guy for this week. Yeah, I
want to wait and see, just because of that hamstring injury. There's always a risk of it, reoccurring. And if you buy him again and he does it, you'd be feeling filthy. I think he's a must-have for the run home, just because he's got that dual centre wing 2RF, and it's just so invaluable. But I think he'll play Origin too, so there's that. But I think he's a good purchase next week, not this week.
Speaking of Origin, Kalyn Ponga's probably going to play.
Yeah.
3 scores, very poor scores. I think he got upgraded to 45 on the weekend, which still isn't great. Are we selling? I'm just hanging on. I think his run from now is really good, and he needs to get into some sort of form before Origin. It's just the Knights are looking so bad right now. Where are they going to score tries? It has to come through Ponga somewhere, but they're just doing nothing.
They looked a bit better on the weekend than what they did in the past few weeks. They actually scored some tries, which they haven't done. I couldn't sell Ponga for under 600k. It just doesn't make sense. He's a player that's been over the million mark the last few years. He's gonna get form at some stage. Dylan Lucas back certainly helps his case. I wouldn't sell him. I'd probably be looking to buy him if I didn't have him.
Storm v the Warriors. They got Nick Meaney back a little bit early from injury, which is good news for the Storm. Kane Bradley stays in the team though, so he is a guy to look out for as a cheapie. Scored 2 tries, looked like a full forward in the AFL, rising for 2 crossfield kicks over the weekend. Looked very good. The base was okay as well. So he's a guy that we could look out for a cheapie for next week. But the issue is that Will Warbrick is hovering around with that concussion. We've got no idea when he's going to come back. I think he is the crucial factor there, because you've got guys like Moses Leo out long term and Jack Howarth out long term too. So job security is decent, except for Warbrick. We just need to know what's going on with Will Warbrick.
Yeah, I was trying to find something on social media this afternoon, just because it was a concussion and he was questionable to play last week. I'd love to buy him if that job security was there, because as I said with Dylan Lucas, this guy has the dual 2RF centre wing, which is just invaluable. He's a winger in the best side in the competition at the moment, even though they lost on the weekend. But as you said, he looked like a bloody AFL player up against there with the high balls. I'd have to wait and see. Is this his second game or his first?
It will be his second game coming up, so we can wait until next week.
Yeah.
So we've got him and Finau are both going to be really
I'd have
popular
Finau
next
above
week.
Bradley just because of the security.
Same here, but who knows? Like we might find out something about Will Warbrick during the week that either spikes Kane Bradley or makes him a really good purchase.
Yeah, well, it is weird that he's not back yet, isn't it, Will Warbrick? It must be some delayed symptoms or something.
It's one of those things that clubs always keep quiet about when it's to do with concussion. It's they're never. If it was a knee injury, we'd know everything about it. But with a concussion, it's a bit more complicated.
Yep.
Harry Grant's out for 4 weeks. They're saying they reckon he can be back in round 10. That means a lot of people are selling. I think that makes sense. Onto the Rabs. So Latrell is at fullback, which I like. So it's got a big BE. I think that he could be a buy coming, maybe not before Origin, but after Origin, round sort of 20. He could be perfect.
It could be a nice buy next week, just for like a 3-play sort of thing, because they have a nice draw after next week, and you wouldn't think like Amy Park, Melbourne Storm, 146 break even. You'd think he dropped some cash this week. He could be a nice little pod play next week in the flex position or something. So
definitely. Yeah, if you're looking for a pod, why not have a crack? And then Lachlan Hubner. He's got that Category 1 concussion, so he's out this week. The BE is up there. It's in the 50s. So ideally you'd be selling. But there are so many guys that I want to be selling this week. A whole bunch of injuries as well, so I'm not sure if I'm going to have the guy to bring in. I mean, I want to sell Hubner, but who am I going to bring in the back row? Yeah,
I got too many fires to put out at the moment, so Hubner's on the chopping block in a few more weeks. So. And
interesting to see that the Dally M leader in Jai Gray has been benched. So
who's the best player of the comp, by the way? One of the Sharks fullback, Will Kennedy, mate. 22 points, leading the Dally M.
I thought Jai Gray was leading it.
He overtook him this week.
He overtook him this week. Well, there you go. I'm a week late. On to the Cowboys, where the Titans. So Bateman's back after illness. Scotty Drinkwater. And he's the guy who everyone's looking at. He's the 6th most purchased. That's still pod territory. Like, he should be higher than that, given what he's done in the past, what he's doing this year. He's just one of these guys that is perennially, whatever it is, at the top of the fullback position every year. And he just plays so many games, rarely gets injured. He's kicking goals now. He just looks for goods. Yeah, lock him in, I reckon. I was actually hoping to be a bit less purchased. I didn't think he'd be so highly purchased. But I'm going to lock him in there. I might even look in Jeremiah Nanai. He's starting this week. He's been coming off the bench all year. He's 500k, so he's dropped in cash a little bit off about a 65 average last year. He might not play Origin. He hasn't been really playing that well. So if he misses out on Origin, they got that nice buy schedule at the back end of it. If you get Scotty Drink, why not lock in Nanai with him and play him? Just go for the Cowboys for the next couple of weeks. It's a good price. The only issue I've got against it is we have so many good cheapies and guns. It's a guns and rookies kind of year. Getting a guy at 500k doesn't make that much sense for me. But if he's starting and playing 80, then definitely. It's a points thing over price, I think, because he's got that attacking upside. He scores tries at will. So I don't mind it as a pod player. I might talk myself into doing it later in the week. Titans, they got Fifita back apparently. Cant Pereira's back from a hamstring as well. Jayden Campbell out for 4 to 5 weeks, so he's a sell. He was looking good too with his run-first mentality. Yeah, he was looking great. Tom Weaver looked alright on the weekend. I'm not sure how many points he got, but he looked pretty good, especially when the Titans were going good. It's going to be interesting to see what they look like when Foran comes back. I think he's a week away. Do they move Brimson to fullback? I know a few people have him, including myself. So yeah, I think they have to. He looks a bit lost. Pretty good. He does look good. He has flashes of brilliance, but is he an NRL fullback? Maybe in the future, but yeah. Yeah, and the other guy to look out for, who I think is really underrated as a cheapie this week, is Alan Fitzgibbon, who looks like an absolute weapon. He's 26. I don't know how he's not played more NRL because he looks really strong. The BE is around, it's 1, I think, off the top of my head, or maybe -1. So certainly not an automatic cheapie purchase, but he's one of these guys that's going well in the eye test. Plus, he's forced his way into that team, not through injury. It's just because Des Hasler loves him. Yep, I like him. He's a gun. That
That try he took off the kick on the weekend was awesome. So I don't think he got it though because Brimson.
And he got disallowed. Yeah, so with that he would have ended up scoring 70 or something.
His break even was in the negative. So he's a nice little pod, isn't he? But the Titans are just plodding at the moment.
Yeah, he looks good. But there are so many cheapies floating around at the moment that he's probably a long way down the list.
Yeah.
Onto the Panthers v the Sea Eagles. So Mitch Kenny is suspended. They got Tungo into centre with Luke Garner out with concussion.
Yep.
Jenkins, he's the most sold player. It makes sense. So he's made more than 200k, but the BE is up in the 50s now. So if you can sell him, go for it.
Yeah, too many fives to put. But he's an outside back in one of the best teams in the comp who looked like a lot better last week. So he might, do it to Marley and score some points.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, he probably will, but you need to cash in when you can cash in. So him down to a cheapie, let's say Billy Smith, or up to Jacob Carraz or Herbie Farnworth, makes absolute sense. Onto the Seagulls. So Turbo's back. Have you got any temptation whatsoever to get Turbo into your team?
Could you imagine if you just brought him in this week, captain him against Penrith, and he scores 180, and it's like a week like last week where no captain pops off? You'd just be over the moon. And he can do that.
He's got a big BE.
He does.
So I'm going to have a look this week.
But he'll make the money
And then
back.
He's got Origin coming.
Yeah.
So, look, if Turbo's fit, he's going to be somewhere in that New South Wales team, probably at right centre. So I can't bring myself to do it. I've been burned so many times with Turbo, but the fact that I'm even considering going back there just shows how good he is.
It'd be so fun to do it, just to take on everyone and do it, but I don't have the sack to do it. So
and Olika R2 had an absolute barrier on the weekend.
Yeah,
still got 50 points. I don't know how. Yeah, how good. Raiders v the Dolphins. So at the Raiders, the guy that we've got to look at here is Nicholson. So he's peaked. BE is in the 50s. Zach Hosking came back last week. The good news for Nicholson was that he still played 80 minutes, so it didn't really cut into him at all. But still, I think Nicholson's peaked.
Yeah.
And he's got to go, but there's so many other things to do in my team right now that he's probably going to stay.
Yeah, well, he can score tries, so he might, still go above that break even and have some scores in him. The Raiders look awesome too. Like, they're scoring a lot of points. A lot of those points are the other back row, to Hudson Young, not Nicholson. But I was surprised that he played 80 in the weekend with Hosking back. So.
And good to see Savelio Tamale, just as a whole bunch of people were selling.
Yep.
Scored a try, got 7 tackle busts, almost 20 runs. So had a really good game. More price rises to come for him, but still, I can get around if you want to sell him as well. On to the Dolphins. Jeremy Marshall-King, that leg gash that we saw last week, ended up getting infected. Yeah. So he's now out, at least for this week. So big blow for him. Herbie Farnworth, though, is the guy we need to talk about. Supercoach-wise, a really good pod. No one owns him. The base is very good. Scored a try on the weekend. It's only 2 tries for the year. So lots of base, but there's attacking upside there at the Dolphins. Like, they've got really good attack with Isaiah Katoa leading the way.
Yeah, Isaiah Katoa's a lead. I brought him in a few weeks ago. Yeah. I started to see it there, and you could almost bring him back in. Like, if over this Origin period, Herbie plays out the back of him. I got one word written down here for Herbie. It's just thoroughbred, all in caps. Yeah. That's exactly what he is. And he's not going to play Origin because he's English.
Covers round 12.
Covers round 12. I don't mind him as a buy at all.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so the question is, do you go Carraz or him this week? Carraz first and then Herbie next.
Yeah, I think Carraz has a lot more upside than Herbie. Yeah. He's also probably more safe. So I just think he's a better Supercoach player and he's in a better team. Like, the Doggies are coming first, so yeah.
Tigers v the Sharkies. So Galvin's back for the Tigers. What a week of shenanigans and carnage there, the Tigers. But it is good news for my draft team in particular, because I was getting offered trades galore last week, people thinking that Galvin's never going to play again. But he is back into that team. Terrell May turned up on the weekend too and got his first try. So, again, they play that last game on a Sunday, which they seem to have almost every single week.
Yep.
So Terrell May as captaincy option again.
Yeah, well, it'd be smart. I keep doing Nico Hines and he keeps getting 60 points. So, how about Galvin on New South Wales Cup? Had 30-something runs.
Was it 30 runs?
Yeah, 36 runs or something on the weekend. Jeez. Like 3 forced dropouts. Just had a great game.
Yeah, try assist. There were 500 people in the crowd there. Yeah. And he had his own personal security
at Lidcombe, it's just a shame he plays the Sharks because they'll probably put a score on him. But you'd think he'd be having a big big bounce back game, especially at Leichhardt. He might cop a bit of stick, but
I don't think you. I reckon
the fans will get into him.
I reckon the fans are gonna. He copped
a lot of cheers.
Yeah. He copped a lot of cheers at Lidcombe.
That's Lidcombe though. Is that,
it's more his.
When it's a big crowd and there's a few people with beers in their hand, it might be a bit different, I think.
Maybe that Thurston guy will be in the crowd.
Take Alvin.
What is Sharky? So Rudolph's injured. Mawani Hiroti is the guy that we need to talk about for Supercoach. So got a try, basically in junk time, a try. Yeah. So he's made over 100k so far. They got Kyle Iro back next week, but we should get another week of good scores out of Hiroti. That'll take him up to about 150k in price rises, and then see you later. Him to Finau next week, something like that.
Yeah, Iro seems like he's back next week. It's poor Mulatalo, he's not getting any ball with Hiroti there because he just keeps scoring points, but he's just such a beast. I didn't end up getting him last week, even though I said I'll do anything to bring another Sharks player. That's just because of David Fifita stuff. So, great 2-week play for those who got on.
We are chasing that Fifita news, so keep an eye on the news section of the Supercoach app, and we'll let you know what exactly is going on with David Fifita, because no one has any idea what's going on. Perhaps even Des Hasler doesn't even know what's going on.
David Fifita probably doesn't know.
He probably doesn't know what's going on. And the bye, obviously, Eels are on the bye. Big news is that Isaiah Iongi, I know he had a good game on the weekend, but his BE is in the 50s, so I think it is a sell for Iongi, even though he did seem to get unlocked by Mitchell Moses being back in that team, as did everyone at the Eels, to be honest, let's face it.
He's a very reluctant sell for me. Well, not really, because I've been talking up Drinkwater for ages, but it hurts to sell him, and I'm not going to sell Ponga over Iongi. He looks so good out the back of Mitch Moses, and he shouldn't have got sin binned. Like, that was silly. Like, that... minus 10 on that, and all the attacking upside that he could have got in that period was gone. But it's a 50 break even, so I think this is the week to sell.
Yeah, I think it is a sell because he's not quite a keeper, but still, it's very reluctant to sell, even though I sold him weeks ago. So I can speak completely impartially on this one. Heaps of questions came through today. When do the next duels come through? So that'll be in round 12, i.e. after round 11, when lockout opens for round 12, you'll see some duels in there. Couple of guys who I want to earmark are Isaiah Papali'i from the Panthers. Looks like he will earn prop status. Still up in the air about Latrell. He's an interesting one to watch. He's been switching between positions mid-game. He's been named in different positions, so it's a really hard one to actually work out what's going on. But he's a guy who could end up with either 5'8" or centre wing on top of his fullback already. Would you go Gutherson to Drinkwater? Yeah,
I think the Gutho train sort of ended. He's scored below 50 or 40 the last 3 of his last 4 games.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot more guys with attacking upside like Drinkwater. What's his price at now? Is it?
Oh, I'm not sure, but he's pretty. He must have topped.
He'd have a high break even.
He must have a high break even this week.
Yeah, I'd be selling.
Yeah, I think it was At first, it was definitely a cash grab, and then it probably went so well that it exceeded people's expectations.
Yeah.
Now, I think you have to cut the cord and say, it was a nice run of form, but now he's worth so much that I can cash him with someone else, like Drinkwater or Tedesco
or Turbo,
whatever you want to do. Jayden Campbell, is he a hold for 4 weeks?
No,
absolutely
no
not.
chance.
You have to get rid of him. And finally, is Kalen Ponga a sell?
Nah. Well, we covered it earlier. You couldn't bring yourself to sell him at sub 600k. He's going to make the money back eventually. So
so just for people who are new to Supercoach, if you sell someone after they've lost all this money, then you actually realise that loss. Whereas people like Jett and myself are sticking with Ponga because hopefully he'll go up in price. Then we can sell him back to somewhere near his starting price when Origin starts, where he'll almost certainly get named now that Reece Walsh is injured.
Yeah, I wouldn't say with the run he's got, they should only improve. They can only improve. They can't go lower than what they are. So Ponga's, he's been one of the best. He's got Supercoach pedigrees, people love to say, so I wouldn't sell him.
Well, that is it for our team's podcast. We will find out what the hell is going on in Des Hasler's head at some stage. People are chasing that story with David Fifita. We'll catch you tomorrow for the preview podcast. See you then.